Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Dubai Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Tahir Majithia. Today, I'm really excited for this episode because joining with me on the show is Sarah Sham, the founder of Essajees Atelier from Bombay, who've just set up a new venture in Dubai. They've just opened up their shop in Dubai. And I'm really excited because she's one of the top leading interior designers of India who's coming to Dubai. And I've been following her work for a very long time. I really love what they've been doing. And so for that reason, I thought, why not have her on the show to discuss what's going on? What are the interior design trends going on? How can someone really enhance their spaces, etc., etc. Guys, before I start the show, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell to stay updated. Your share, likes, and comments are really appreciated. Spotify listeners, please do follow. And Apple Podcast listeners, please do give us a 5-star rating and review. And now, let's cue the music. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for taking time out from a busy schedule and joining us on the podcast. Why don't you start with a quick introduction on what do you do and a little more about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me, Tahir. My name is Sarah. I run an interior design studio called Essajees Atelier. We've been around for it's a fourth generation brand called Essajees.
Wow.
130 years of legacy. We have been around as an independent design studio doing the most luxury interior design spaces for about 10 years now in India, and recently branched out to having our own office in Dubai under a banner called Gia.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. So what got you to Dubai? Why Dubai?
I think that the Dubai market is in desperate need of the services that we're offering,
Right.
and the way we do things is very, very different. And I can see that it's a booming market, and there's a lot of demand here, and so I want a piece of that pie.
That's great. That's great. So, you just mentioned right now things which are being different.
Yeah.
So what is it that you guys do differently as compared to, say, anyone else over here?
So I think the first offering is that it's super, super customized, okay? We have absolutely the best sourcing in India. And so whether it is curtains, fabric, upholstery, embroidery, hand-knotted rugs, completely custom-crafted furniture, we can literally put everything into a container and bring it to Dubai. Dubai, as we know, doesn't manufacture a lot. As UAE,
Right.
they import a lot of stuff. And India being a country that has massive manufacturing capacity, I feel like the kind of customization that we bring into our projects,
Yeah.
it is just not done here, not to the extent that we do it. We customized every thread, every light, every piece of everything. Every ergonomic height of everything is customized. And also the process for us is very different. We start from bare shell and we do not leave till the last toothbrush and toothpaste and bathroom hook and toilet paper holders placed on site.
Right.
So in Dubai, I'm feeling like it's a very fragmented way of working where there's you can get these design proposals, then you're supposed to go shopping around to a contractor and get it made yourself. That end-to-end service is not there in the way that we offer it.
Right.
And we also have a lot of project management that's built into what we already offer. I think it's a very, very different offering.
Okay. And when you talk about, the services you'll offer, so is it only interior design or what are the services exactly your company would offer?
So it's conceptualization, all of the working drawings, material selections, definitely the interior designing part of it. And then as well as the entire execution piece of it in terms of project management. So we'll budget track, we'll find the right contractors, we'll find you the best vendors and makers and collaborators and artists to work with on the project. And we'll be there with you from start to finish. So it's literally an end-to-end hand-holding service. Yeah.
Now, you also, Ryan, you said, you do a lot of manufacturing and everything. Obviously, India is one of,
It is.
The biggest manufacturing hubs around the world. How much of a difference does it make cost-wise if someone was to buy something here or get the same thing done over here?
Yeah.
I know that obviously, there's certain things which when you manufacture in India, forget whether you get it done here, but the quality is far better.
Yeah.
Okay. But apart that, how much of a difference does it put in cost?
So we're not doing it for the cost, we're doing it for the quality, but I will answer your question and say it's way cheaper. So if we're looking at a hand-knotted rug, we've actually completed an 18,000 square foot Jumeirah Islands mansion already.
Right.
And when we were doing that and we went to the stores shopping around for rugs, the quality of rugs and the knots per square inch that were there in the rugs compared to what we can do in India for a completely customized hand-knotted rug, After shipping it and with the import duties and the rest of all of it and
Right.
putting it all into a container, it was at half the price. So, and my client got literally exactly the right size, shape, design. We've selected every last thread, and the same applies for curtains. For some reason, curtains here are very very expensive, and I mean, not for
Yeah.
some reason. We know
Yeah.
what the reasons are. Is because in India we manufacture
Right.
everything. So strangely enough, it was cheaper for me to fly down my best curtain consultant from Dubai, from India to Dubai, measure the entire space, hand embroider and custom make all the curtains in the highest quality of linen, silk, satin with the best thread work,
Right.
and then come here and fly two of her installers and install it still at a significantly less price.
Right. And much better quality.
Way better quality.
Right.
And the other thing that I noticed in Dubai is that there are like a lot of cookie cutter houses.
Yes.
So you have these large developments where the builders and the developers have made all the homes look the same. And then in these developments, there are designers who are doing 20 villas that again all
the
look
same.
similar. So we don't do
Yes.
that in India at all. That's
all,
not the model in
yes.
which we work with.
Yes.
So, for example, we're doing 7 apartments in one building. It's like a very, very high-end building, like 50 million dirhams an apartment. Okay.
Right.
However, between the two apartments, you would not even be able to guess that the same designer is
Right.
doing it because everything is so different. So we don't have any standard set of everything. So that's the part that I find surprising about this market is that people actually have the money, but why would you want a cookie cutter house when you can actually, get something that's so much more above and beyond?
True.
And we've presented to a bunch of people. This is my first time presenting for my Dubai brand
Right.
with my new partnership with Abra. And the response has been phenomenal. People are like, absolutely no one is doing this here. So we're very positive and feel like, we're going to do well in this market.
No, that's great. No, but what you said is absolutely right. There's, there are a lot of people, a lot of
Yeah.
things, but everyone is looking at cutting corners, just finishing the job. And as you said, even multi-million-dollar homes, sometimes you go into a community and they all look the same.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
in India, definitely, especially a city like Bombay. If two houses look the same, nobody's going to buy it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Even if they're the same
Yeah.
family, they still want it, separate.
Yeah. So that's the part that's like, I really wonder, like
Yes.
you're spending 50 million, 80 million on buying the house, but you're okay with it looking like everything else in the community. Like, how does that make sense? Or you're okay shopping from all the same stores and all the same
Yes,
brands as
yes.
everyone else after you spend all that money. Why?
Yeah.
There's so many better and more different options that are available out there. And that's what we're hoping to bring.
All right. Now, so tell me more about, you've built this company over the past decade, and you're the principal architect. How has your journey been? Like, if someone today, because there are a lot of people who want to get into this field of interior design, architecture, right?
Yeah.
How's your journey been?
It's been a journey, lots and lots of ups and downs. So initially, when I started out, while we do have the family legacy and company, I was very clear that I wanted to do this on my own. So I didn't use any of my dad's contacts or any of the family connections in order to get my first few clients. I did work with him for 5 years, and then he would tell me like, listen, XYZ person is making this house and this space, and why don't you?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'm going to find my own clients. So initially, ours were very hard, Tahir. I used to do only single bathroom projects, single bedroom projects. I got shouted at a lot. It's not a glamorous job. Most days are standing on site getting shouted at by clients. So I really clawed my way to where I am at right now. And so I don't take anything lightly. I don't take anything for granted. And I feel like my journey's just begun. I have a long way to go, and I'm looking forward to everything to come.
But if you look back 10 years, right?
Yeah.
What were the key things you would say you did right, and what would probably, if you could change, if you could go back and change some things, what would that be?
So I actually had 12 jobs before I was an interior designer.
Wow.
Yeah. So I used to be a news anchor at Bloomberg, which is
Okay.
why a setup like this seems very familiar for me. I used to work as an art consultant. I have worked at a hedge fund. I've worked at all kinds of jobs. I worked at Saffron Art. I worked at Vogue. I was an intern there when they were launching the magazine. I worked at Grey Global, the advertising
Right.
agency. So essentially, I tried out a lot of jobs and I sucked at all of them. I was really, really bad.
Right.
And then I went back to working with my dad, during which time a client told me, listen, you have a very good eye. Why don't you try interior design?
Right.
And I had already failed so many times that I felt like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? But when I tried interior design, irrespective of all the hardships, I literally felt like, like the angels were singing, the Red Sea had parted,
Right.
everything had aligned for me. Like literally everything had aligned because I was like, wow, I love it and I'm so good at it.
Right.
So I think what really worked in the plus for me, what I would always do again and again, is try everything and keep at it because I feel like I learned not just what I like, but what I don't like. So
Right.
then when that thing, it's like, kissing many frogs to find
Yeah.
your prince. I did exactly that for my career. And if I had to look back and say the one thing that I would not have done again is that I think I said yes to everything. I
Right.
would have just said no a lot more. So I was so desperate for work that I used to say yes to every project, every client, even if I felt like it wasn't a match for
Yeah.
me. And that ended up in either unhappy clients or I was unhappy
Right.
or projects that didn't turn out the way I wanted to. And I feel like I was always better off with less clients and less projects, but the good ones.
Good ones. True.
So now I'm at that point where I'm like, listen, I will wait. I will look around. I'll find the right person, the right project, the right clientele for me. I'm not in a hurry to have some certain number of XYZ.
True.
I'm better focused on the quality,
Quality
people
product.
who respect me, people who speak nicely to me, people who respect us creatively, and who are nice to deal with and work
Right.
with. Yeah.
That's great. That's great to know. Now, tell me something. When it is, say something, a job like yours, where it's every project has to be different,
Yeah.
or this thing. How does this creativity actually come out? Like, is there somewhere you take inspiration from, or is it like different concepts in the mind?
My team. So we start with the clients.
Right.
We're very client centric. So we actually don't think we have a set signature style. If you are the client, we'd be like, listen, what's your style? What do you like? And then you'll tell us, okay, I like, I don't know, like beige with a touch of gold. Okay. And then within that, then we'll explore and as a team brainstorm concepts. And
Right.
I'm genuinely blessed with a very, very creative team. And so because we allow creative freedom to everyone in our studio, that's how the outcomes are so different because everyone is kind of, chipping in their 2 cents.
Right.
And that's how each project turns out how it does.
Okay.
It's truly collaborative. Yeah.
That's great. Now, when it comes to like you said previously, when you see homes in Dubai, what are the trends you feel that are not, or the type of interiors you don't get to see here, uh, which probably you would probably want to do?
So what I do see a lot is like these very neutral spaces in beiges.
Yeah.
I see a lot of them with like an oak wood and neutral tones. And that's actually a beautiful aesthetic. I don't think there's anything wrong with that aesthetic. But I just feel like I wish people played with color a bit more, that did spaces that were more colorful. And I feel like in this attempt for everyone to like look cool and fit in, they're losing their own individuality.
Right.
And so I would love to see spaces that are like weird, funky, conceptual. And I feel like there are a lot of homes that all look derivative and
Right.
similar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, also, when you see nowadays, especially when you see developer homes being handed over, and especially apartments or even villas, townhouses, as cost or the prices are going up, most developers, are going small in sizes, right? As a designer, what would you advise if there's a small space, okay, and someone wants to still, make sure there's complete. What are your tips on doing up a place which is small?
So I'm from Bombay.
Yeah.
One of my early projects was like a 700 square foot 2 bedroom hall and kitchen
Wow.
for a family of 3 with 4 cats. So I think no size is too small for me. I'm totally open minded. And for all of us in Bombay, like a 2,000 square foot apartment, it's considered a palace. Okay.
Yes.
So here, what you guys consider small is relatively very
Yes.
reasonably sized for a Bombay person. But having said that, I think what we've realized from living in smaller spaces is multi-use furniture is the name of the game. You
Okay.
have to have, a dressing table that doubles up as a desk, a dining table that can fold out when there's more guests,
Right.
a sofa that has hidden storage underneath, a partition that can close off and a separate room is created. Things like that that allow you to use the space in multiple ways and
Right.
you're not just stuck using it as is.
Right.
And the other thing is like guest rooms. The one thing we tell our clients is that a lot of people live for parties and guest rooms, okay?
Yeah.
So they say, when we have a party, where will people sit? And then we ask our clients, how often do you have a party in your house? And they'd be like, at least once a month. I'm like, cool, okay. So there's 12 months in the year. So even if I say 15 days, so of 365 days, you're building something that for 350 days of the year is not going to make
Not gonna
sense
be,
to you.
yes.
So don't, or like the guest,
Yes.
every year my sister comes and stays with me for 2 weeks. Okay. Now I love that. I'm very close to my family, but don't build your whole home
For those
for
2 weeks,
those, you
right?
know. Build it for your everyday functionality.
Right.
And for the odd occurrences, you know, have a backup, have a solution, of course, but don't compromise every day
Right.
for once in a while.
Got it.
Yeah.
When you look at a space, okay, what's the first thing you think about?
Light,
Okay,
ceiling height, energy.
that's great. That's great. And what are the trends you're seeing now going ahead? What do you think the next, 4 or 5 years, what kind of trends will we see more when it comes to interior designs?
I feel like because Dubai is such an international place, I
Yeah.
think people of so many nationalities are coming in and trying all kinds of, they're open minded to
Yes.
new and different things. And I definitely see it with the commercial design, with the restaurant design. It's unbelievable. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the restaurants, some of the retail stores are so good.
Yes.
And some of the designers doing them are unreal. I mean,
Yes.
way, way ahead.
Right.
And doing some superb things. So I feel like I'm hoping to see that happen in the residential space as well.
Yes,
By
let's
the way,
hope.
we do
Yes.
residential and commercial
Okay,
spaces. We don't
that's
only
great.
do residential.
That's
Yeah.
great. When it comes to Dubai, what's your uh, main focus going to be as a company?
Client is happy.
Right.
That's the main focus. That's our main focus in all across life is maintain the relationship with the client. Client should be happy. All else takes a backseat. So it's super client focused.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And as you mentioned that when you meet a client, the client's brief or is there, but at the same time, someone coming from a creative background, how do you face the challenges when sometimes you want to do something creatively, but the client is not really aligned or is not able to envision that?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, from a real estate aspect, I see this a lot of times that there are a lot of people, no matter how many floor plans you explain them or whatever, but they want to see the space.
Yeah.
Okay. They
Yeah.
can't really envision or imagine how that place is going to be. So how do you deal with challenges like that? Because I'm sure you must be facing this
All
very
the time.
often.
So I actually feel really bad because I know that they're genuinely wanting to understand how the space looks, but they're just not able to. And it's very frustrating for them as well because they're
Yeah.
like, but I can't understand,
yeah.
you know? So in scenarios like that, we usually have an early conversation where we're like, are you good at visualizing spaces? Are you not? And if they say we really struggle with visualizing, we try and give them as many tools as possible. Obviously, 3D views, physical samples, but also tell them at an early stage that you have to let go a little bit. And there has to be a large element of trust with us as your designers that I may not be able to 100% understand how this is going to look, but I trust that my designer will get me, you know, to that end point and that this is going to make sense. So I think just letting go a little bit goes a long way.
Okay. And, uh, you know, when a client is, how much of an input of a client is important or required when you're doing a project?
In the initial, when we're onboarding a client, we get all the feedback possible. Once we start our process, of course, every step of the way we ask you which plan works for you. If we're presenting 3 plans, maybe Tahir, one makes sense for you, one makes sense for me. That's not like you're right and I'm wrong or vice versa. So we do guide them every step of the way. But if halfway through the creative process, someone has sent us, 50 Pinterest images, that's just disruptive to the entire process.
Right.
So we tell our clients, if you want an extra week to collate all your thoughts of creatively the direction you would like it to head in, you tell us in advance. But once the process starts, then you just let us keep going on that path. Otherwise, it becomes, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then we just keep getting stuck in a loop.
Right. And especially now, see, if someone is, doing up their house on their own, probably they don't have a budget to hire someone professionally, right? What tips do you have for people, someone, say, for example, they just want to furnish their homes, right? And they're doing up an apartment. A lot of people nowadays, obviously, Pinterest is the most common thing they see. Okay, I want to do something like this, right? But they are not able to achieve it, even after buying similar furniture and all. what are your tips on doing up a space if someone is a complete layman in this field? What would you say that please make sure these things are done right?
I think your contractor is equally important to the designer, So if you have a good contractor on board who will give you the right quality of wardrobes, the right, bathroom fittings, just make sure the shell structure of your house makes sense and works if it's not a builder finish space. Because things like furniture and art and rugs you can change like this. You don't like it, you call your friend over who has a good design aesthetic and they're like, why don't you try this? And there's so many furniture stores here at every price point and budget. You don't have to go only in the super high end. There's at every price point and budget, there's so much available. But I feel like the shell structure needs to be very good because if your bathroom's not working, your kitchen cabinets suck, your cupboards don't open and close properly, your flooring has cracks in it, those are non-negotiables. Or, your ceiling lights are not good. That stuff we insist that people have a good shell. And the loose things you can play around with them. Yeah.
Now, coming from a market like Bombay, right? I would say when it comes to interior design, especially, it's probably way more matured as a market than Dubai.
I didn't realize that, Tahir, but like now when I'm seeing my Indian clients, like it's not that I thought India was backward. I think India is the best and we're amazing at everything. But I also know what an international place Dubai is. So I was thinking that it's going to be a very similar market. But strangely enough, I do feel like the Indian clients are so evolved in terms of paying top dollar for design.
Absolutely.
There's zero resistance. But when we're trying to charge similar rates here, people are like, oh, what? Really? And I'm like, what? I thought like we would have no resistance at all, Yeah.
No, because I feel that, okay, maybe architecturally, when it comes to like building architecture, probably the freedom with the rules and regulations, especially like a city from Bombay. I'm from Bombay, so I can relate. For an architect is not that much. But when it comes to interior design, obviously there's complete freedom. And when I see people's homes and the way they've done it and the way it's, and I think it's more of a trend for a lot of people to always do up their houses, which even when I moved here initially, I felt that's quite strange that you walk into a house and what flooring the developer's given 10 years, even in the most prime area such as downtown or Palm, you'll find still, building is 18 years old, but the flooring is same.
Yeah, that surprises me as well because when we're seeing spaces, you're like, but wouldn't like in India, when people are given their builder finish apartments, they rip it out instantly and put, whatever they feel like putting. But here that mentality is very different.
It's very different. And now slowly, I think in the last 2-3 years, okay, people have started refurbishing and doing up, but still it's not to the extent what, we would do in India.
But I think a lot of it is because Dubai is a transitional place for many, you know. People feel like, I love it here. I'm here for maybe 2 years, 3 years, then we'll see, But in India, people are there from generations. And so their home is a statement of many things, their family, their culture, their lineage, their heritage. And for many generations to come are going to be appreciating their home. So this is something I'm just realizing now, as we're, going through this process, that because Dubai is so transitional, and that's probably why the restaurant and commercial market is so much more evolved. If you see the restaurant designs,
they're amazing.
They're way ahead of what Indian designers 100%. Are doing. Okay, and I'm saying this as a restaurant designer myself. You go to every restaurant here and you're like,
even
wow.
a normal cafe, you
you're
go
like,
and you're
where
like,
am
it's
I?
amazing.
Like, this is amazing. But I guess because the homes are transitional, and restaurants do so well because everyone goes out irrespective of whether you're here for 1 year or 10 years, So there people are spending and they're investing in the design. But I do feel like that's also changed since the pandemic because a lot of people have settled down. And that perception of Dubai being a place that's only transitional.
That's changing.
It is changing. It's become a great place for families. It's a great culture here. Weather's so good for large chunks of the year, except for summer, it's really good. So maybe that market will start maturing as well.
That's great. What are your top 3 things you love about Dubai?
I love the food. Okay. I think that's clear. I'm like a huge foodie, so I love the food. I love the beach access, like I feel like the beach culture is great. I've been coming to Dubai since I was a little kid because my dad had a business. For his business, he had a lot of stuff in Dubai. And at that point, there was never a beach culture. It was like, you're on the ocean, but you're on a desert. Like, you're not supposed to go to the beach and hang out. Your skin is going to burn off. But like the amount of, beach clubs and beach things I really love. And the people, I think there's such amazing people from so many different, places.
Right.
I love it. I really do like
Which was the first project you did in Dubai?
the Jumeirah Islands project.
And if you can just tell us a little more about it, how big that was?
It was an 18,000 square foot plot on
Yeah.
which the house
Yes.
was there. And then we did a bunch of extensions. It was for an Indian couple that were from Calcutta and Bangalore. And they had actually moved in the pandemic to Dubai thinking that it was just going to be short. And then they loved it so much, they never wanted to go
Yeah.
back. And then they ended up buying this house in Jumeirah Islands. And my client thought that I would never do a project outside of India, but because she liked and followed my work, she messaged saying, listen, I know you don't do projects outside of India, but will you do it in Dubai?
Yeah.
And I was like, of course, I love doing projects anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. It was a great, great experience. We had lots of fun, had a great time with my client,
Right.
and lots of learning. Like, for example, okay, in India, if I want to change tile somewhere, if I'm looking for a tile, I call my guy at the tile shop and I say, Kitna tile, mujhe itna tile, sorry, I want this much tile, and send it to me right away, okay? And here, I realized that tiles are only on order. And I was like, oh God, I didn't realize, that you have to wait
Yes.
like a month for the tiles to
Tiles to
come,
come.
like 3 weeks because they're getting imported from
Yeah.
somewhere. So there were so many learnings like that where we have to, behave very differently in terms of how we plan the project out. But it was a very good learning experience, yeah.
In terms of work culture, what do you feel is different comparing India versus Dubai?
So in India, I think we have like obviously unbelievable craftsmen,
Yes.
but there is a large gap in education between the contractors and then the labor. So while the labor are highly skilled and they're very good at their job, because of the gaps in communication that does boil down to educational levels, it does take a lot more work and explaining. And in Dubai, I felt like it was much more systemized and process driven, and so I found contracting and execution way easier in Dubai. Yeah. In India, we have to really crack the whip
Yes.
and go all the time. And of course, we work with amazing contractors in India as well. But definitely Dubai, I found easier for contracting.
contracting.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And what's your like a dream project which you still are looking to do? Like, you wish you get a chance to do something.
I'm hoping that this year I'm doing a 30,000 square foot mansion on the tip of the palm.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
yeah. If
Why
anyone's
not?
listening to this that has that, call
Yeah,
me.
definitely, definitely. No, there are a lot of waterfront villas coming up.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
Because when I see what happens is when you go to any of these properties over here, especially the high-end ones, okay, yes, they're nice. It's expensive material, and because Dubai is so much about brands, so you find nice.
Yeah.
Everything is branded.
But it is nice. Like so
it
many
is.
nice things.
Yeah, there's some amazing ones. But when it comes to the style, I don't think that there's something really different.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
one house is on a say like a gray and a
Yeah.
white tone, the other's in a beige, someone's
Yeah,
used a dark
yeah.
finish, but it's not something like I haven't seen this anywhere.
Yeah, and when you see like the Indian designers and the kind of work that's getting churned out, it's absolutely mind-boggling the kind of design work that's actually
Yeah.
happening there
Yes.
in all areas and
Yes.
spaces. So that's amazing. But the one thing that I like about Dubai more than the food and the people and the beaches is the lifestyle. Like because in Bombay, for example, if we paid 50 million dirhams, we would get a 6 or 7,000 square foot apartment, definitely with an ocean view. But it's an apartment and with some amenities and parking and whatever on a road which probably has some chawls right
Yes.
next to it. And here at that same price, you've got like a mansion on the water
Yes.
with like thousands of square feet of space,
Yes.
and you're really living life king size.
Yeah, I mean, it does. When you spend that kind of money, the value what you get is much more than as compared to Bombay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in Bombay, for example, if you, even at the lower end of the spectrum, if you were to buy like, say, a $2 million apartment,
Yes.
that's like a 500 square foot apartment in South Bombay is for
Yes.
2 million dirhams. And here you would get a very nice
Nice one.
apartment
Yes.
with everything, like absolutely
True.
everything. And things like parking is just a given.
Yes,
like for
it's a
us,
given. Yes.
yeah.
Is there parking?
Yeah.
No, I know because a lot of clients when they're from
Yeah.
Bombay, does it come with a parking? I was like, yeah, it comes with a parking.
It's in our brains
Yes.
because we're so paranoid about parking. We're like, please,
Yes.
please just give me parking. Like,
Yes.
I'll do anything,
Yeah.
but just give me
Yeah,
parking because
but
we
here-
never get parking.
Yes, even a studio comes with a parking.
I know you
Yes.
guys are very spoiled with how many parking
Yes.
spots y'all
Yeah.
get. So yeah, you take it for granted, but like it's so important where do you
Yes.
park your car.
Where do you park your car?
Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. That's absolutely true because the value wise, yes, definitely, you get much more for what you spend over here. Now, how easy or difficult was it to set up over here for you?
So it took me like a year of talking to my partners because I realized that so they have expertise in high-end retail execution, and we obviously bring the expertise in design plus the entire process. So I just wasn't sure about whether I wanted to do it and take this move because this is me really betting on myself and taking that big
Right.
move and saying yes I want to do it. But I realized in Dubai you do have to have a physical presence. You have to have the office, you have to have the people. You can't go back and forth. It's not as easy to grow. Some people are doing it and managing very well. I don't think that was the case for me. I was not being able to
Right.
grow and scale my business the way I would have liked to. So it took me like a full year to set all of this up, to think about it, to get everything figured out. And yeah, we started talking last year in like November, and now we're in September. So it's been a long journey.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Going ahead, are you seeing any uh, uh, trends which globally, right, in terms of design, which you think is still missing in Dubai?
Um, Globally in design, I don't know actually because I feel like there's so much of everything in Dubai.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like maybe like the bling bling style is the Dubai style, but I do feel like that is really evolving and changing, and people are liking a more subtle palette in many
Yeah.
cases as well. But I think globally people are moving away from things that like they're moving towards quiet luxury.
Yes.
And Dubai is the opposite of quiet luxury. It's like the loudest luxury
Loudest,
you
yeah.
can have.
Yeah.
Like it has to say like Fendi, Fendi, Fendi,
Yes.
Fendi.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether, given the Dubai lifestyle, that people are going to be able to move towards quiet luxury because
Right.
having that lifestyle is such a big part of the culture here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that would be it.
If you were to choose between a branded furniture and a custom built furniture, what would be your choice?
Custom any day. I think we're too like hardwired because I can get exactly the proportions and the depth and the hardness and the softness that I want.
Right.
But when it comes to specific brands of sofas, the kind of like technology that they have in their foaming, I would definitely invest in those. But as an overall question, custom always.
Custom always.
Yeah.
And do you think that, in terms of quality, a custom built versus, say, a branded furniture, is there any difference?
Sometimes, yes. When you go to that I really do feel like for sofas.
Yeah.
For beds, I'm not so sure, okay, because it's a framework and a backing, and I feel like, beds, side tables, things like that. But the foam density and the quality of the foam, a lot of these are proprietary technologies to those specific high-end brands. So, if you're looking at like a Turi sofa or Minotti sofa, some of those are just so comfortable when you sit on it, or like Baxter is one of my favorite sofas to sit on. You sit on it, I feel like I'll go to sleep in like a minute.
Right.
I don't think anyone could emulate that, which is probably why there's so much longevity for them,
Right.
why people still buy. But yeah,
Okay, that's great. Now, one last question for you, Sam.
Yes.
Right? Uh, you're a star on social media. You're also a mom. How do you effectively manage your time between work, family, kids? What's the secret recipe?
Okay, so this is like a multi-pronged answer. The first is like I'm very particular with time management, okay? I have like a hard, like my day is mapped out, like it's like Tetris bricks. Everything is super tightly packed in. I also have a very hard cutoff time for switching on from work and switching off from work. So I switch on at 9 o'clock, I switch off at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Even at 6:30, if someone asks me for something, my brain has switched off and all I want to do is hang out with my kids.
Right.
I'm very clear with all my clients about this as well. I also never work weekends. Ever, 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 ever.
Right.
That is dedicated time with my kids. Now, the other side of that, I have two nannies. I have my mother and my mother-in-law who are full-time with me. They stay very close to my house. And I'm very blessed with an equal partner in my husband.
Right.
So it is very much like a village that is raising these kids. I feel like as moms, there is an onus on you,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like that pressure is always there because so many people are sharing the load with me.
Right. That's great. That's great. I think, Sarah, that was a great conversation. I really, enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
And
very
I
much.
wish you all the best, for your, new venture in Dubai. And I hope, I could probably, probably collaborate on some projects
I
sometime
would
soon.
love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
So, guys, that was Sarah from Essajees Atelier. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to get in touch with her, I'm going to be leaving her contact details in the description below. And if you want to know anything about Dubai real estate, you want to get in touch with me, you can reach out to me on any of my social media handles at Tahir Majithia. And we'll be back with another episode of the Dubai Real Estate Podcast very soon.